Welcome, my name is Ruth McKinney, and it's so much fun to have you here for our winter series at our home in Driggs, Idaho. And where you can see it is a winter wonderland, and it is freezing. It's been snowing since yesterday. We're going to be doing several of our episodes from here, from soups to a special vodka marinara sauce to conversations with Bob. So, and we're even going to go to a consignment place where we got a lot of our things for our home. So please join us. Thank you, and we'll see you inside. Hi, welcome to our winter series. My name is Ruth McKinney, and this is my husband Bob, and I'm excited. We thought it would be fun to kind of explain to you how we even got out to Driggs, Idaho, and what we've done in the real estate. Not everyone knows what we've done in the real estate space for so long, and then what got us here and why we're here. And I thought it would be fun to bring in Bob, who has been the reason we've been able to do anything to begin with. Not only is this man not afraid of hard work. I mean, he might be the hardest worker I've ever met in my life, but he's not afraid of doing things that most people would find daunting because he wasn't trained that way. So I'll ask you a couple of questions and you let me know. All right, how did we get into the real estate business to begin with?
So out of, when we first got married, it was out of necessity as we were trying to move to an area and couldn't afford a home in that area. And a realtor called us and said, hey, you weren't afraid of a little work. And so we ended up buying a house that needed to be completely refurbished and put a two-story addition on it, and kind of realized shortly thereafter, after about 18 months, when the realtor came to us and said, we can sell your house for double what you paid, and I have another one for you, that we went, oh, we're actually pretty good at this. And that continued on for numerous houses after that, and made us realize that we have a talent and an opportunity to use sweat equity to get a home that allows guests and for our family to grow up in. So
one of the things that I love is that so many families, most families either love the mountains or they love the beach. It's interesting, like what gives families rest, or going back in how we would vacation as a family. How did we used to do it versus what we're doing right now? Because this hasn't been the way it's always been.
No. Well, originally started with, we have a Sprinter van, and we would throw all the kids in the Sprinter van and we would drive across country, stay at KOAs across the country, and visit national parks. And so it was a very inexpensive way to have quality family time, sitting around the fire, reading Louis L'Amour, and the kids just asking great questions and having quality time as a family.
I remember because I think we only had 4 girls at the time, and we had all read Anne of Green Gables, and we had gone all the way to Prince Edward Island off of Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And we drove all the way there. We were coming back, and we were staying at the Bay of Fundy.
Bay of Fundy, which has tidal changes of over 30 feet.
I think it's the biggest in the world.
Yeah, highest from high to low tide. And we get to our campsite at around 11:30 at night. We just go, and we pitch our tent. We hear water in the distance, but not close at all. And literally at 4 o'clock in the morning, Ruth wakes me up. She's shaking me, Bob, I think we're going to be underwater soon. And the high tide had come in, and the water was still 10 feet away from us, but it was a big difference from the faint water in the distance to water being close by. We were never in danger of going underwater, but it was you waking me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, but we've always loved hiking, and we've always loved backpacking and all mountain sports. I grew up in Colorado, So for me, camping in Silverton and Ouray, all of my life, I mean, you had to dig your own. It wasn't even like campgrounds. My dad would have us dig a trough and then put 2 logs with a shovel, and you go to the bathroom and you cover it and you move on. So it was always that way of camping. And we did it even with newborns. You would bring me the baby, I would nurse, and you'd take the baby back to your own tent.
Yeah, and that's where, it's ways of doing things on a shoestring budget, which is what we were at there. The funniest one was Anders was 6 months old, and we're here in Yellowstone camping, and the rest of the family's in a big tent, but I'm in a 2-man tent. It's just him and I. And I don't think he has slept through the night yet. And there was a grizzly warning, or grizzlies were close by. So they said you cannot have any food in the tent. So I'm sitting there going, how am I going to do this, of having a 6-month-old, no food in the tent, and him waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning for feeding. So we prayed real hard, and he slept his first night through the night that night, and we didn't have to worry about getting out of the tent in 35-degree weather in August, of getting food out of the car or something like that.
So it's been a progression of exposing our kids out to the West. We had skied out. So I have a great deal of family that live in Park City. In fact, my mom is buried in Park City. She died almost 20 years ago. And we had been going out for maybe 15 years, twice a year. And tell the story, because I think this is kind of the segue as to how we got to Driggs. I'd never even heard of it. I didn't even know where Idaho was on the map. I hadn't even been to Jackson Hole at that point. No, I had, because when Mom died, we all came here, but it hadn't been on a regular basis. So tell the story.
Yeah, and I grew up skiing, and so for me, it was always wanting my kids to grow up skiing. And so with your family having a place in Park City, Ruth and I spent every winter, we would come out for a week and go skiing in the Park City area. And the one winter we're out there and there is no snow anywhere. And it's right around Christmas time. And we're bummed. And I think there was 5 families at the house, about 25 kids. So the house
might
was
be a little bit much. I mean,
it was chaos.
It was chaos. I don't know if there's 5 families,
so
maybe 3.
All of a sudden, a nephew comes running out of the back bedroom and goes, "Dad, Dad, Dad." And there's a snowstorm in southern Idaho. And we're like, okay. And he goes, "Let's go skiing up a place called Grand Targhee." We're like, "What's that?" So we called up Grand Targhee and said, "Do you have rooms available?" And they said, "Yes." And we said, "Where?" And they go, "Well, they're ski in, ski out." We said, "Really?" So next thing you know, 5 dads hopped in a car and we drove 5 hours up to Driggs, Idaho. And we skied in powder for 3 or 4 straight days. And it was just...
it's epic skiing.
It was epic skiing, an incredible experience. We're on a high, and we come back New Year's Eve, and we're pulling in the driveway. Just want to share our great stories of how the 5 of us just said epic skiing. And we walk in, and the whole house looks like it was just run over. Because while we were gone, the 5 moms and all the kids, the stomach bug went
ripped through the
house.
And I mean, I had 5 kids. Chriselle had 6 kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Eva had 5 kids. You're right. There was like
close
25 kids. It had ripped through the house. But
so obviously the greeting was not one of joy. And so I looked at Ruth and I said, "I will never do that again without you." And so but because of what I found that day when I skied at Grand Targhee, it was just a very family-friendly place. And that is what we're all about. It's not about the best bowls or the best skiing here or the highest mountains. You want all that great skiing, but you want what's family-friendly. And so we started coming up here instead of Park City for the next 10 years or so. We would just fly out here and we would rent a condo or a townhouse or something in this area for about a week. And
we would actually get like a 2-queen room and bring sleeping bags, and everyone else would sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, we can keep certain things to ourselves.
There's a shoestring budget, and then there's what goes around those stories you don't share.
I know, but I would share my dream of.
But I mean, part of Grand Targhee was funny where they said if every adult lift ticket you buy, you get 1 free kid lift ticket, and we went, wow. We can't even take advantage of that because we have 2 adults and 5 kids. So it was just a bargain place at the time, and it's still a lot less expensive than any other major ski resort.
Is it still family owned?
I don't know if it's still family owned, but it's It might still be owned by the Gillette family, but yes.
But you never had to wait in a line, and with kids, that was so fantastic.
So obviously taking advantage of the lift tickets, and with the, we had 5 kids and 2 adults, and so it was kind of unique. And so eventually we said, let's maybe figure out a way we can get a place out here, a place for our family, a place that we, instead of renting for a week or so every year, for the winter, let's come out, let's get a place where we can bring the family and actually come out here for during the summertime also, because the summer out here is, you have Yellowstone, you have the Snake River, which is fly fishing, 4-wheeling, hiking. Probably just hiking out here is actually, I love the West more during the summer than the winter, just because of the incredible hiking and the temperatures and the weather, and it's just unbelievable.
They had a statement when I lived in Colorado growing up: you come out for the skiing, but you stay for the summer. And I think that that's the same thing. It is spectacular. You have the Tetons right behind us, Yellowstone this direction, the Snake River, which goes, so it's probably some of the best fly fishing in the world. I mean, is it in the world? I don't even know. In the country. I don't want to exaggerate. But I think what we loved about Driggs, as opposed to, and Park City is wonderful, and my family lived there, it's almost untouched. It feels untouched here.
One traffic light.
One traffic light. It is. I mean, you go from Jackson Hole, which is beautiful and incredible restaurants, although we have some pretty amazing restaurants on this side. But, you know, you're only a 35-minute drive over the pass, so you can still access. But it just feels quieter. And when we had a conversation with the kids and said, you know, your dad and I are thinking the way we might be able to do a place out there is if we Airbnb it, or, you know, short-term rentals. So that's what we did, and we bought it sight unseen. My cousin, who lives in Jackson Hole, came over for us and went through the house with a FaceTime to me. And I think what was so fantastic is we had worked so hard on so many houses over so many years that we were worried we'd have to get a fixer-upper.
Well, every house that I've ever lived in, that is kind of what I love to do, is tinker with it. And so buying a house out here, we thought, in order for us to afford a house, that we'd have to get one that needs work. And so this house came on the market, and what was great about it was didn't need any work at all. And first I was like, wow, then what am I going to do? And I've realized it's actually forces me to actually rest when I come out here, which is great. And I'm not constantly working. You know, when we're on our farm at home, there's always something to do. And here it's like, okay, I might have to read a book, and this is great.
You've never read a book? No, you did on our honeymoon.
Yes, I did. I've read a few.
The joke is, though, after we set up the house, he goes, I had to buy one thing other than the furnishings, which I'll talk about. He had to buy a wrench. And it was the level of rest I saw in him brought me so much joy, because as much as we've enjoyed the flipping and the redoing, it's cost us in terms of time. And so we get into this house, everything is gray. Every carpet, every piece of furniture, I mean, chairs, bedding, towels, couches, everything was gray. And the fun story, oh, sorry, do I have a fuzz that just flew? Or no, I have tears? So the fun story is, you know, we knew that we needed to do a lot of consignment shopping for the house. And my dad at the time was in Park City. And the great thing about the great thing about these kind of towns, right, whether it's a resort town or, you know, Jackson Hole or Park City, is those places largely are places of second homes for people. So they sell their homes fully furnished. And when I tell you this place was fully furnished, I mean every towel was in the cupboards. I just didn't like the style of furniture. Right now, mountain modern is a big thing, and I wanted more homey and cozy. I wanted warmth. I wanted texture. I wanted to feel like I was in the mountains. And I love that sleek modern look, but that's not what I wanted for my home. So we called my dad in Park City, and he proceeded to go to every home consignment place in Deer Valley and Park City, and he would FaceTime me. Do you like this bed? Do you like this dresser? What about these rugs? He did this for weeks on end. He loaded up. Here my dad is in
He
his
rented a storage unit.
mid-70s.
He rented a storage unit
Yeah.
and put everything in the storage unit because we were still 3 months away from actually occupying the house. And so finally the time comes and he has a whole moving truck of stuff in this storage unit that he has bought in Park City. And we go, how are we supposed to get it here?
Yep, and he drove it here.
So he gets a nephew to help him, or grandson actually, to help him load the truck, and he drives all the way up here. And
the great thing is with those consignment places is we were able to move everything out into the truck and all the other stuff. But it was so fun to figure out what textures do I love? How do we want to make this, home for our family?
Yeah.
And from the bunk room, we have a bunk room, to this house, at least for now, with our family size, which is 9, it has a movie theater, which has been really special because we're always here Christmas time with all the, Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
It has a hot tub for after skiing and a fire pit, so we're able to have hot chocolate down by the fire pit and play Wink Murder around the fire pit. And it just kind of has all the elements that I think we were looking for in a house.
It's a place where, as the kids, now they're getting married and down the road with grandchildren, it's a place where they can come and they can also rest, and there's enough space and enough activity that there's always entertainment to be provided, either summer or winter time, to keep them occupied.
And I think we're going to be taking you on another one of our episodes to one of the consignment places in Jackson Hole that I did a lot of the shopping at myself, and because they have a mixture of new and consignment. And every time I'm there, I kind of leave them a list, and they come back and let me know when things arrive. So that'll be in another episode. We're just so thankful that you joined us for this. Thank you for listening to us and our story. It's been a really special time, and hopefully if you're ever out in Driggs and you need a place near Yellowstone, you can always look up, what's the name of our house?
It's called Powderhorn, and it's Base
Yeah.
Camp Stays is our property manager. They are amazing people.
They're amazing, and it's just a great family place. It's only family homes. It's a relaxed place.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope maybe next time, if you're ever in Driggs, you can stop by here and get some respite yourself. But thank you for joining us.